They had a guy called Shakil Khan, as I said, who got 27 wickets against us in 3 tests. He had a really good series. Sadly, he was one of the umpires. Okay. I qualified as a tool maker. My father, Alf, insisted that I got something behind me before going on a cricket career or trying to be a professional cricketer. So he made me do a 4-year apprenticeship as a tool maker. Some of you might know in the room there's a very famous person in this country who also likes to explain that he's a tool maker. Actually, do you know who that is?
No.
Don't you read the news?
No.
Our Prime Minister.
Prime Minister?
Sir Keir Starmer, that's correct, yeah.
Right.
So I did that for 4 years, and the day I qualified, I qualified and got my indentures, right, which are still hidden somewhere. I signed professional to play for Essex, actually. Can I just say, I've never been to the King Power Stadium, okay, right. And it's a lovely ground, okay. Of course, I'm a West Ham supporter, okay, and we are very grateful to Leicester. Okay, because we're only still in the Premiership because there's 3 worse teams than us. Okay.
I think you're treading on glass here, to be honest.
That's right. I was going to tell a story about West Ham. Okay, is that allowed?
Yeah, of course it's allowed. Yeah.
Okay, so when, as a lifelong supporter, okay, from the good times when we won the World Cup in 1966. West Ham, as you might know, 2012 bid for the Olympic Stadium. They weren't sure they were going to get it. Tottenham were in for it as well after the Olympics. They put the bid in and they wasn't sure. They approached the local council, Newham Council, to say that if they didn't get the Olympic Stadium, could they build an alternative venue in a local park called Plashic Park, just up the road, where the team I played for, with my dad, cricket team, East Ham Corinthians, played. The Newham Council agreed, okay? The negotiations went on, but after about a year, Newham Council reneged on the deal, okay, that they wouldn't allow them to build an alternative venue. And the council spokesman said, well, we don't mind having a fun fair there once a year. And he said, but a circus every fortnight's a bit much. Let's be fair, right? So, did you enjoy your food? Okay, it's good, wasn't it? Gat likes his food. Andy delight your food, and your food, because his favourite musical instrument is the dinner bell. You know that, okay? So on this particular match, he's right. No one likes fast bowling, just some play it better than others, okay? And to be fair, he's a bit unlucky, because what he hasn't told you, the ball hit him on the nose, right there, right? If it had hit him in the mouth, he'd have been perfectly all right. It'd have been just like a big onion bhaji. But anyway. But what he hasn't told you, and he was very brave, because this is absolutely true, I'm not embellishing this, okay? This part of his nose, this hard bit here, this bit, was wedged in the ball, okay? Was stuck in the ball. And Marshall picked the ball up and he said, no, man, can't bowl with that, man. He threw it to the far side of the ground. And you know, then the groundsman comes on to clear up all this mess. And if you're playing out there, Gat had to go off, right? 6 of our players had to help him. All right, 7 of our players had to help him off, all right? There's a nasty big red stain there where you got to stand, okay? So there was blood, there was snot, there was vomit. I mean, that's a hell of a lot of vomit, I can tell you that now. And the groundsman comes on with the old dustpan and brush, doesn't he? Zippity-doo-dah, you know, he's got a joint on. He hasn't got a bat against these bastards, has he? This bloke, you know, he comes out, he hasn't got a care in the world. I mean, I thought he'd get arrested in the West Indies if he didn't smoke dope, but anyway. And they carried him off, but he was very brave. And do you know what the ironical thing, he's waiting, the ironical thing, he went to the hospital, like he said, he had to go, so this is a long tour, 3.5 months. He had to go back to London, okay, to get his nose fixed, okay, 3 weeks, was it, Gat? About 3 weeks. He comes back, okay, we're playing Barbados in an island match before the Barbados test. guy called Vibert Green, who played for Gloucester, West Hampshire, I think he played for. He hit Gat on the end of the thumb, was it, or finger, and he broke his thumb the very first match he came back. That's absolutely true. But, as I said, when the ball's coming down at 90, 95 mile an hour, there's nowhere to go. So you just got to know that you're going to get hit.
So that's a tour of the West Indies. What about other tours that you've been on, both of you? Have you been... Obviously Australia as well. What about other tours? Have you enjoyed other tours?
He mentioned Pakistan, didn't he? He mentioned Pakistan. Shakil Rani, all heard. I mean, there's not many people probably old enough to remember 1987. We were sort of undone by Pakistan, played 3 tests. We came third in a tours race in those 3 tests. And he got upset with an umpire called Shakil Khan, actually, because let me just give you a highlight of how the tours to Pakistan used to go, okay? I mean, I once opened the bat in there with Geoffrey Boycott, right? He was giving out LBW, taking guard, okay? So, and all the teammates said, what a in shame, because he weren't the most popular player in the side, as we know. So the games used to go like this, right? We would generally win the toss. We'd be all out 215 for 3, okay? Pakistan were back, they get 450 for 15. They had a guy called Shakil Khan, as I said, who got 27 wickets against us in 3 tests. He had a really good series. Sadly, he was one of the umpires. Okay. My favourite story, okay, so 20, it's amazing. My favourite Ashes series, I played in 7 Ashes series, won 3, lost 4. But my favourite series is not any of the ones I played in, was 2005 when England won, which is 20 years ago, isn't it? I mean, it's amazing it's that long ago. Do you remember that series? Great series, a lot of intrigue. We just nicked it in the last test. And my favourite part of that test was actually not any of the playing days. It was the day after the test series finished, the celebration at Trafalgar Square. Does anyone remember that? That's a day that most Englishmen will never forget, and one that Andrew Flintoff will never remember. Okay? I was in the bar with him afterwards, and he went up to the barman. He said, "Can I have 2 bottles of Moët, please?" And the barman said, "Sorry, Fred." He said, "We've only got Magnums." He said, "That's all right, I'll have 2 bottles of Magnums then." Okay, he was that pissed. But anyway. But my favourite story, when I first went to Australia, okay, they said, "You're going to love Australia," because, let's be fair, Australians are very keen on their sport. They're a brilliant small sporting country, small population, but they're very committed, very competitive. But what Australians really love, I mean, there's at least one I know that's in here, in my opinion, is winners. That's what they really love, is winners. If you win in Australia, and it's the ultimate test for an Englishman, then they will love you, okay? Because they love winners and they respect winners. So when I first went there, they said to me, "You're going to love Australia," right? Great cricket grounds, fantastic weather, brilliant beaches, great climate, tough cricket, super cricket stadiums, but you know, if you win, there's a lot of respect. They said, but there's only one problem with Australia, okay? I said, what's that? They said, there's nil culture. And I said, nil culture? I said, that's a bit harsh, isn't it? And I said, we said, wait till you get there. So I'll tell you a little story and you can make your own minds up, okay? We're in Melbourne for the Boxing Day test. My oldest daughter Hannah's coming out. We're staying at the Sofitel Hotel, top of Collins Street, the main street in Melbourne. Go down Collins Street, look in a few jeweller's shops, something for Christmas for her, earrings, a ring, bracelet, watch, necklace, couldn't find anything. Returned to the hotel, the Sofitel Hotel. In the foyer, there's a little shop. I went in the little shop, looked for something, couldn't see anything. As I went to exit the shop, what caught my eye was a rather attractive tray of crucifixes. I said to the shopkeeper, excuse me, I said, can I look at those crucifixes, please? He said, no worries, mate. As I bent down on the counter to look at them, he pulled them up, put them on the countertop. And as I went to look at them, he said to me, mate, he said, do you want a plain one or one with a little bloke on it? So my case rests, actually.
Can you remember any stories of the great 1981 Ashes game at Headingley? Does that ring any bells? Because you were both involved in that. No?
Well, he caught Dennis Lilly out, which probably changed the game at mid-on. Look, I mean, it's a historic match because the odds were on the board. You might remember, those who watched it, first electronic scoreboard, 500 to 1. Rod Marsh, Dennis Lilly, two of Australia's greats, sent their bus driver around to Ladbrokes tent to put a bet on England to win at 500 to 1. And they ended up winning, obviously. They had to get 130 to win, okay? And they were 50 for no wicket, or 50 for 1, if I remember rightly. John Dyson, I think, was out. Anyway, and Bob Willis ended up bowling down the Kirkstall lane end, bowling them out. And the bit I remember, please, is that the Aussies filled their bath with champagne.
Correct.
Okay? And Ian Botham ended up drinking most of it, to be honest. I mean, it's a one-off match that would never happen, and then we beat Australia again later that series at Edgbaston when they had to chase 100 and something. And I remember Kim Hughes, their captain, saying, "Can't you give us 350 to chase? We'll probably win then." But it was an iconic series that Ian lost the captaincy. It's debatable. You're one of his big mates. He resigned or he was sacked by Alec Bedser. I don't know. I mean, Ian was an alternative captain, was it? I mean,
he was.
One of his mottos was, "You don't come back the same day you go out." Okay. And once he said, "I'm having a curfew," and we said, "Curfew, Boff, the way you carry on, gallivanting around, getting up to no good." He said, "Yep." He said, "As long as you're all back by breakfast, I don't mind." So it's sort of alternative captaincy. And what about the story at Lord's? Hang on. What about the story at Lord's? They put an artificial pitch down at the story at Lord's. You know this artificial pitch down? They wanted his opinion as England captain on the artificial pitch. Got the TV cameraman, got the commentator, stuck the microphone right under his nose and said, "Right, Ian, in your experience, what is the main difference between AstroTurf and grass?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "I've never smoked AstroTurf before." So you get the gist of his captaincy, actually. So I finished playing in '97. I went to do some coaching at Durham for a little while being an England selector. But the one thing, actually, good thing about being an England selector, I was still playing when I was an England selector. So sometimes I used to leave the match like in the afternoon. If we were fielding, I just had to walk off the match to go to the team meetings. Someone else fielded for me, so it was a big bonus. That was. It's absolutely brilliant. So then I went back to coach Essex in 2002, set up a charity called the Graham Gooch Scholarship Fund, which still runs now. We support, it was my way of putting something back in the game, so we support the Essex Cricket Academy, the Professional Cricket Association and Trust. We support gambling awareness courses, alcohol awareness courses, all sorts of things like that, as well as the East London hub, which is mainly South Asian, in Leighton, where I was brought up. And then in 2009, Andy Flower asked me to come back and coach England, help coach England. So I did that for about 5 years, and that's where I first met Kevin Peterson. So put your hands up if you like Kevin Peterson. Keep your hands up if you've got Kevin Peterson's book. Have you? You got it, sir? Kevin Peterson's book? Have you finished colouring it in yet? Okay. Can I do my Kevin Peterson story?
Well,
okay. So I met Kevin Peterson, right. So everyone in this room would be aware of the star player syndrome, okay? Every employer here where you've got someone in your organisation who gets the job done, who performs well, but does not conform to the team plans, okay? They always want to do it differently, and they upset all the other personnel in the team because they want to go about it their own way, okay? So he was a brilliant cricketer, box office cricketer, match-winning cricketer, but I think you would describe him possibly as high maintenance, okay? So this is my story. 2010, I go back coaching with England, okay? The players under Andrew Strauss, it's the last time we won the Ashes in Australia, okay? 3-1. They invite me to the Ivy restaurant in Sydney under one of the hotels for a meal. Just me as one of the coaches, because they've never met me really, most of the guys. None of the other coaches went. We had a nice meal in the Ivy restaurant where they got to know me. We talked cricket and all that, as you do as cricketers, and it was a nice evening. At the end of the evening, the bill came up, $5,500 for 17 people. Okay, so there's a few bottles of wine flying around. Okay, I get my credit card out to pay my share of the bill. Graham Swan, okay, stands up and says, I think we'll have credit card roulette for the bill. Anyone played credit card roulette for the bill? Not many people. There's one doesn't want to put his hand up there. Anyway, this was new to me. Anyway, I got my credit card out. He calls the waitress over, asks for 17 napkins, okay? Wraps each credit card in a napkin, puts it in a bread basket, gets another waitress to come and says, pick one of these napkins out. So you can imagine the tension in the room, okay? $5,500, that was my whole tour fee, that would have been, okay? And anyway, so she pulls it out, unwraps it, Andrew Strauss, England captain. I'm jumping up on the table. Everyone else is quiet. I'm going, yes, 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 England captain's going to pay the bill. I got it wrong. He's out the game. This goes on for 35 minutes, okay? And every time a credit card comes out, that person is jumping up and down this table. There's high fives all the way around. Gets down to the last two. Myself, the old coach, and Kevin Peterson, okay? And all I can tell you, lovely ladies and gentlemen, is it was a happy ending, okay?